My brothers and sisters, let me start with a reality most people refuse to admit. Ignoring your problems does not make them disappear. It makes them grow quietly in the dark. It makes them sink deeper into your heart. It turns a small test into a heavy burden. Some people think turning away from an uncomfortable truth is a form of patience or a sign of emotional strength. It is not. True patience is facing what frightens you and placing your trust in Allah while you deal with it. If you walk away from every difficulty, you are not escaping the problem. You are escaping the growth that Allah placed inside that moment for you. Today, I want to tell you something simple. Ignoring is not the answer. There is a better way. There are steps that strengthen your heart instead of weakening it. And if you take them sincerely, you will see your life change in ways you did not expect. 1. Acknowledge what you're running from. My brothers and sisters, the truth is very simple. You cannot fix what you refuse to face. Many people spend years circling around the same pain because they never stop long enough to confront it. They fill their days with noise so they don't have to hear their own thoughts. They drown their hearts in distraction so they don't have to feel the discomfort that has been building inside them. They convince themselves that if they stay busy enough, the problem will solve itself. But the human heart doesn't work that way. Silence doesn't erase a wound. Avoidance doesn't cure fear. Denial doesn't bring peace. Before anything can change, you must be willing to look at the reality you have been running from, and this requires courage. It is far easier to hide behind entertainment than to reflect on why you feel broken. It is easier to blame others than to ask yourself what part you played. It is easier to act as if nothing is wrong than to admit that something inside you needs healing. But Allah did not create you to run forever. He created you to grow. And growth begins with honesty. Remember, Allah knows your truth already. He knows the stress that keeps you awake at night. He knows the fear you pretend you don't have. He knows the weakness you hide from the world. Your denial does not fool Him. It only hurts you. The moment you acknowledge your difficulty, even silently, in your own heart, you begin to weaken its grip. Problems gain strength from the shadows. When you drag them into the light, they lose the power to terrify you. A believer is not afraid of truth, even when that truth is uncomfortable. A believer uses truth as a tool for transformation. When you say, "This is where I am struggling," you are not humiliating yourself. You are opening the door to improvement. When you say, "This habit is harming me," you are not confessing failure, you are stepping towards success. When you say, "This is what I have been avoiding," you are not exposing weakness, you are beginning the journey of strength. Honesty with yourself is a form of worship because it requires humility. It requires standing before Allah and saying, "I need help." It requires admitting that you are a human being with flaws, limits, and wounds that only He can heal. And that admission is the first sincere action that leads to real change. So take a moment and ask yourself, what am I avoiding? What have I pushed aside for too long? What truth have I been afraid to face? Because the moment you answer those questions honestly, you will notice something remarkable. The fear begins to fade and the path toward healing becomes clear. 2. Bring the problem to Allah before you bring it to people. My brothers and sisters, one of the biggest mistakes we make is turning to the entire world for answers while ignoring the one who controls every solution. When something troubles us, we rush to voices, opinions, advice, distractions, even random strangers online, hoping someone, somewhere, will say the magic words that take the pain away. But nothing settles a heart that has not first settled with its Creator. Before you speak to anyone, speak to Allah. Before you seek comfort from people, seek it from the one who created comfort. Before you pour your heart into 1,000 places, pour it into the only place that will never break, misuse, or misinterpret it. You must understand this. People can only guess what you feel. They only see the surface. They only hear a portion of your story. They might misunderstand you or even judge you. But Allah knows your pain with perfect clarity. He knows its beginning, its depth, and its purpose. He knows what caused it, what will cure it, and what wisdom it carries. There is nothing hidden from Him. So turning away from Him while drowning in difficulty is like walking past a flowing river while dying of thirst. When you bring your struggle to Allah, you are not informing Him of anything. He already knows. You are cleansing your own heart. You are releasing the weight you've been carrying alone. You are reminding yourself that you are not meant to control everything, fix everything, or understand everything on your own. Talking to Allah is not a last resort. It is the foundation of inner stability. It is the moment your heart stops trembling and starts breathing again. Some people feel embarrassed to admit their weakness to Allah, but weakness before Allah is strength. Vulnerability before Allah is dignity. When you cry to Him, you rise. When you lean on Him, you stand taller. When you ask Him for help, He gives you more than you imagined in ways you never expected. After turning to Allah, yes, you can seek advice from wise, sincere individuals. But if you skip the first step, everything becomes noisy. Everyone's advice will confuse you. Every opinion will shake you. Every disagreement will frustrate you. But once your heart is anchored in dua, in honesty, in a private moment with your Lord, you become grounded. People's words no longer decide your emotions. They simply become tools you evaluate with clarity. So take your problem to Allah first, even if you feel lost, even if you can't form perfect sentences, even if all you can say is, "Oh Allah, help me," that is enough. Your sincerity matters more than your vocabulary. Your humility matters more than your eloquence. When you run to Allah first, you never run in circles. You run toward guidance, relief, and solutions that are perfectly timed. 3. Confront the situation with small, consistent action. My brothers and sisters, many people misunderstand fear. They think fear disappears when you avoid the thing that scares you. In reality, fear grows stronger every time you step back from it. Every time you avoid a difficult conversation, the anxiety around it increases. Every time you delay a responsibility, the shame around it deepens. Every time you pretend a wound doesn't exist, the wound quietly spreads. Avoidance feels comfortable in the moment, but it builds a painful life in the long run. Real change begins when you decide to stop running and take even the smallest step forward. Not a giant leap, not an overwhelming transformation, just one sincere, consistent action. Allah never asked you to solve everything in a day. He asked you to act with intention, honesty, and patience. Let me be clear. Action does not mean perfection. You are not expected to wake up one morning and instantly handle every challenge in your life with complete strength. That is unrealistic. Action means doing what you can today, even if it feels small. It means refusing to let fear dictate your direction. It means choosing movement over paralysis. If you have been avoiding a painful conversation, start by organizing your thoughts. Write down what you feel, what needs to be said, and why it matters. If you have been delaying repentance, take one step. Make dua, close the door to the sin, remove one trigger. If you have been overwhelmed by responsibilities, break them down. Start with the easiest one. Build momentum. Small tasks done consistently overpower big tasks ignored constantly. Allah rewards effort, not results. He rewards sincerity, not speed. He rewards consistency, not intensity. Sometimes the smallest step, one phone call, one apology, one page of learning, one difficult admission becomes the turning point of your entire life. And understand this, when you take a step toward the problem with the intention of pleasing Allah, He strengthens you in ways you cannot see. He places reassurance in your heart. He makes the path smoother. He opens doors you didn't know existed. You may think your action is tiny, but in the sight of Allah, it might be the moment that changes your destiny. Ignoring a problem keeps you trapped in the same chapter forever. Action, even tiny action, flips the page. It tells your mind, I am not helpless. I am not defeated. I am capable with Allah's help. That shift alone begins healing. My brothers and sisters, do not underestimate small steps. You didn't fall into difficulty overnight, and you won't rise out of it in one day. The goal is not speed, the goal is direction. Move toward Allah, move toward growth, move toward responsibility, and you will feel the weight begin to lift. 4. Seek knowledge, because ignorance makes problems look bigger. My brothers and sisters, Many people suffer not because their problems are truly unbearable, but because they do not understand them. When you lack knowledge, the smallest issue feels overwhelming. When you don't know what Allah has said about your situation, your imagination fills the gap with fear. When you don't know the wisdom behind a test, the test feels like punishment instead of purification. Ignorance magnifie pas. Knowledge shrinks it back to its real size. Think about it. When a child fears the dark, the fear is not caused by anything in the room. The fear comes from not knowing what is there. In the same way, many adults are terrified of difficulties not because the challenges are impossible, but because they cannot see them clearly. You cannot respond wisely to what you do not understand, and you cannot understand without seeking knowledge. When you learn your religion, suddenly the world becomes clearer. You begin to see purpose where you once saw only pain. You see opportunity where you once saw disaster. You see Allah's mercy where you once assumed His anger. Knowledge gives you a correct lens, and with a correct lens, the heart calms down. There is a reason the first word revealed in the Quran was read. It was not be strong, be perfect, or be patient. It was read. Because knowledge is the foundation of every emotional, spiritual, and practical solution. Without knowledge, you navigate life with guesswork. With knowledge, you navigate life with light. When you learn what Allah says about hardship, your heart no longer panics whenever you are tested. You realize every believer is tested. You realize prophets who were loved most by Allah faced more difficulty than you can imagine. You realize trials are not signs of Allah abandoning you. They are signs of Allah refining you. That understanding alone dissolves half the stress people carry. When you learn the rulings, guidance, and principles of the deen, confusion fades. You stop asking, why is this happening to me? And begin asking, what does Allah want me to do through this? That shift in perspective transforms your internal world. Knowledge also protects you from exaggerating your problems. Many people convince themselves that their situation is unique, impossible, unsolvable. But when you study the lives of the prophets, the companions, and the righteous before you, you quickly realize your challenge is not new, your pain is not unheard of, your confusion is not permanent, and Allah has provided clarity for every path you will ever walk. Knowledge makes the mind steady. It prevents emotional reactions from ruining your judgment. It protects you from acting blindly. It gives you the strength to handle life with maturity rather than panic. But knowledge does not enter a closed heart. You must seek it. You must be willing to learn. You must humble yourself and say, I do not know, so let me learn. This humility itself is a step toward healing. Whether your problem is emotional, spiritual, financial, or personal, there is guidance for it. And the moment you understand that guidance, fear loses its grip. Problems that once felt massive become manageable. Challenges that once broke you become teachers. Ignorance is darkness. Knowledge is light. And you cannot navigate your difficulties in the dark. If you want your heart to stop exaggerating your struggles, give it the light it needs to see clearly. 5. Surround yourself with people who encourage solutions, not escape. My brothers and sisters, one of the most underestimated forces in your entire life is the company you choose. People do not realize how quietly, how subtly, and how powerfully their environment shapes their behavior, their attitude, their courage, and even their spirituality. You may think you are strong enough to resist negative influences, but over time, the people you spend the most hours with begin to plant seeds in your mind. Some seeds grow into strength, others grow into excuses, and excuses are the fuel of avoidance. Let me speak to you plainly. If you surround yourself with people who avoid facing their problems, you will eventually do the same. If your closest companions run from responsibility, escape into entertainment, drown their discomfort under laughter and distraction, or pretend nothing in life requires effort, then you will absorb the same mindset without realizing it. When the people around you normalize avoidance, you start believing that ignoring your problems is a healthy coping mechanism. It is not. It is simply delayed suffering dressed in comfort. This is why the Prophet, peace be upon him, emphasized the importance of righteous companionship. A sincere friend does not feed your weaknesses. A sincere friend does not watch you collapse silently. A sincere friend does not smile while you destroy your own peace. A sincere friend wants you to grow. They want you to improve. They want you to rise. They want you to face your challenges with dignity, not hide from them with excuses. Your friends can either push you closer to Allah or pull you further into heedlessness. They can either teach you discipline or teach you avoidance. They can either help you confront your fears or help you escape them. The people closest to you are not neutral. They are either lifting you or lowering you. Look at your circle honestly. Are you surrounded by people who encourage accountability, or people who distract themselves from their own problems and expect you to join them in that cycle? Are you surrounded by people who say, let's fix this, let's improve, let's do better? Or people who say, forget it, who cares, it's fine, don't think about it. Avoidance becomes a habit when it is constantly mirrored back to you. If your environment rewards running away, you will run. If it rewards facing reality, you will grow. A powerful lesson from our deen is that companionship shapes destiny. The Prophet, peace be upon him, described the righteous friend as someone who leaves you improved simply by being around them. Their presence reminds you of Allah. Their words push you toward clarity. Their character makes you want to elevate yourself. Even if they don't advise you directly, their lifestyle inspires you to handle life with maturity and sincerity. You watch how they respond to hardship with patience, with effort, with dua, with wisdom, and you naturally begin to mirror those qualities. Now compare that to the opposite type of friend, the one who laughs away seriousness, avoids responsibility, ignores emotional wounds, and pushes you toward distraction whenever life gets difficult. These are the people who teach you to silence your conscience, to delay what needs attention, to numb your discomfort instead of healing it. They do not do this out of malice, but because they are trapped in their own cycle of avoidance. And when someone is stuck in a destructive pattern, they often need company to feel less guilty about it. Protect your heart from such environments. Your emotional, spiritual, and psychological well-being depends on the company you keep. You may think your friendships are harmless, but friendships are one of the main pathways through which habits, mindset, and character develop. Let me give you a practical example. Imagine someone is struggling with a difficult decision, changing a harmful habit, ending a toxic behavior, apologizing for a mistake, or returning to consistent salah after neglecting it. If they sit with people who take life lightly and never address their own issues, those friends will say things like, "You're overthinking it. Don't stress, just distract yourself. It's not a big deal." And with these words, they push the person deeper into avoidance. But imagine that same person sits with a righteous friend. That friend will say, "Face it, you are stronger than this. Allah will help you. This is the right time. Don't delay." And that push becomes the start of healing. Different company, different outcome. Same problem, entirely different life trajectory. The truth is, you don't need many people around you. You need the right people. One sincere companion is more valuable than a crowd of careless ones. One truthful friend who pushes you toward growth is better than 10 people who keep you entertained while your heart quietly breaks. Surround yourself with individuals who remind you of your responsibilities, not encourage you to run from them. Surround yourself with people who speak honestly, not those who comfort you with lies. Surround yourself with people who have the courage to confront their own problems, because their strength will inspire you to confront yours. And if you currently lack such friends, do not lose hope. Begin by becoming that kind of person yourself. Be the person who seeks knowledge, who faces truth, who takes responsibility, who turns to Allah, who acts with sincerity. When you improve yourself, you naturally attract people who walk the same path. The righteous seek each other just as easily as the heedless seek each other. Your environment shapes your future. Choose an environment that lifts you. Choose people who strengthen your iman. Choose people who invite you to growth, not escape. Choose people who want for you what they want for themselves. Closeness to Allah, clarity in the heart, and courage to handle life with wisdom. 6. Trust that every problem was sent to strengthen you, not break you. My brothers and sisters, one of the greatest sources of fear in our lives is the belief that a problem has arrived to destroy us. When we assume the worst about our hardship, we instantly lose courage. We feel defeated before we even begin. We imagine the test is too heavy, the pain is too sharp, the situation too complicated, and we convince ourselves that we are not capable of rising through it. But this entire mindset collapses the moment you understand one foundational truth. Allah never sends a test to break a believer. He sends it to build them. A problem is not a punishment unless you insist on seeing it that way. A problem is a tool, a teacher, a form of purification, a doorway to growth, a polishing of the soul. But as long as you interpret it as an attack, you will run from it. And the more you run, the stronger it feels. Not because the test itself grows, but because your fear grows. The real transformation begins when you finally step back and tell yourself, if Allah brought this into my life, then there is wisdom in it. That shift alone cuts your fear in half. Why? Because your heart stops viewing the situation as chaos and starts viewing it as divine calculation. You stop asking, why me? And you start asking, what is Allah trying to teach me through this? With that one question, your heart moves from panic into purpose. You must understand something crucial. Not every ease is good for you, and not every difficulty is bad for you. Sometimes ease makes a person arrogant, forgetful, and distant from Allah. Sometimes hardship humbles a person, cleans their heart, and brings them closer to their Lord than they ever imagined. If you only judge your life through comfort and discomfort, you will misinterpret half of what Allah sends you. Allah sends certain problems not to push you down, but to push you up. Some hardships force you to grow in ways you never would have considered. Some difficulties break habits you were too weak to break alone. Some painful moments reconnect you with Allah after months or even years of spiritual distance. Some tests remove harmful people from your life. Some losses redirect your path towards something better. Some disappointments save you from disasters you never saw coming. But you will not see any of this if you believe every hardship is a sign of failure. Trust changes everything. When you trust Allah, your heart becomes steady even in the middle of chaos. You stop running from challenges because you understand that whatever is happening with purpose and precision. Allah does not make mistakes. He does not overlook anything. He does not send you a burden without also sending you the strength to carry it. There is a beautiful principle in our deen. If Allah tests you, it means He has already prepared you. You may not feel prepared, but your feelings are not the measurement of your capability. Allah's knowledge is, He sees strength in you that you do not yet recognize. He sees resilience in you that will only appear during hardship. He sees potential in you that can only be unlocked when life becomes uncomfortable. If He wanted to break you, He would not have honored you with Iman. If He wanted to destroy you, He would not have guided you back to Him. If He wanted to crush you, He would not have opened the door of dua for you. A believer's pain is never wasted. Not a tear, not a moment of fear, not a breath of stress. Everything is recorded. Everything is rewarded. Everything is used to elevate you if you respond with patience, faith, and sincere effort. And this is where trust becomes essential. When you trust Allah, you stop fighting the reality He placed in front of you. You stop trying to escape the test and start trying to grow through it. Trust gives you the courage to face what you once ran from. Trust gives you the strength to act when you once froze. Trust calms your heart when life feels overwhelming. Trust brings light into situations that once felt suffocating. Without trust, even small problems feel enormous. With trust, even heavy problems feel manageable. And do not confuse trust with passivity. Trust does not mean sitting back, doing nothing, and expecting Allah to fix everything for you. That is not tawakkul. That is avoidance disguised as faith. True trust means you take action while believing that Allah will guide the outcome. You move forward relying on Him, not on your own strength. You do your best and you leave the rest to Him. This is the formula that turns trials into triumphs. Look at the lives of the prophets. Their challenges were far greater than ours. Rejection, exile, loss, injustice, loneliness, danger, betrayal. Yet they did not collapse. Why? Because they trusted Allah completely. They understood that the test was not a sign of His anger, but a sign of His attention. Allah refines those He loves. He strengthens those He prepares. He shapes those He intends to elevate. When you adopt this mindset, your heart transforms. You begin to thank Allah even in hardship because you recognize the hidden mercy. You begin to feel hope even when the situation looks dark because you know the one who controls the light. You begin to walk with confidence even when you feel scared because you trust the one who walks with you. My brothers and sisters, trust is not blind. It is built on knowledge of who Allah is, His mercy, His wisdom, His justice, His timing, His love for those who turn to Him. Once you truly know Him, it becomes impossible to believe that any hardship was sent to destroy you. So the next time a problem appears, do not ask, how do I escape this? Ask, how do I grow from this? Do not ask, why is this happening? Ask, what has Allah hidden inside this moment for me? Do not collapse into fear, rise into trust. Because every test you face is carrying something valuable, a lesson, a cleansing, a transformation, a doorway you could not have opened on your own. Hardship is not the end of your strength, it is the beginning of it. My brothers and sisters, life will never stop testing you. This world is not meant to be a place of perfect comfort. It is a place of growth, refinement and discovery. And you cannot grow by running away. You cannot heal by pretending nothing is wrong. You cannot become stronger by hiding from the very challenges Allah sent to elevate you. Ignoring your problems does not protect you. It simply prolongs the pain. Every time you turn away from the truth, you delay the relief that could have reached you sooner. But the moment you decide to face your difficulties with honesty, humility and trust in Allah, everything begins to change. Your heart becomes lighter, your mind becomes clearer, your steps become more purposeful, and your connection with Allah deepens in a way that only hardship can unlock. When you face a problem with faith, you're not facing it alone. You're facing it with the strength of the one who created you. Remember what we discussed. Acknowledge what you've been running from. Take your struggles to Allah before anyone else. Confront life with small, consistent actions. Seek knowledge to replace fear with clarity. Surround yourself with people who guide you towards solutions, and trust that Allah sends tests to build you, not break you. If you live by these principles, you will notice something profound. Your problems will no longer feel like threats. They will feel like opportunities. Opportunities to grow, to elevate, to come closer to Allah, to become someone stronger, wiser, more grounded and more compassionate. Your life will not change by chance. It will change by choice. And the most transformative choice you can make is to stop running and start trusting. Trust Allah with your past, with your present and with whatever lies ahead. Because when you place your affair entirely in His hands, He opens paths you never imagined and gives you strength you never knew you had. So do not fear your tests. Do not hate your struggles. Do not hide from the truth. Face what Allah has written for you with a heart anchored in Him, and watch how He turns your hardships into healing, your confusion into clarity, and your fear into faith. May Allah grant you the courage to confront what you've avoided, the wisdom to see the purpose in every test, and the strength to walk through life with trust, patience and hope. And may He make every hardship a means of elevating you in this world and the next.